Hello and welcome to today's class, children. Yesterday we had stopped at the meaning of the circular flow of income. Today we are going to complete this topic. So kindly be ready. You can have your notebook with your pen ready. Take down the notes wherever required. And let us begin this morning with the topic, the meaning of the circular flow of income. Now, the circular flow of income refers to the flow of money, income, and expenditure for all goods and services across different sectors of the economy in a circular form. I'm repeating the statement again. Kindly note it down. Circular flow of income refers to the flow of income and expenditure, the flow of money, income, and expenditure for goods and services across different sectors of the economy in a circular form. In other words, circular flow of income is defined as the flow of payments can be defined as the flow of payments and receipts for goods and services between the different sectors in the economy. There are three different phases. There are three different phases of the circular flow of income. There are three different phases of the circular flow of income. The first is production phase. The first phase is called production phase. And in this phase, kindly write a note down. Production of goods and services with the use of productive resources and it is also known as generation phase. It is also known as the generation phase. Second phase is income phase. Income phase. In this phase, you write down the distribution of income to the owners of productive resources. It is the distribution of income to the owners of the productive resources. And this is also known as the distribution phase. This is also known as the distribution phase. The third phase is expenditure phase. The expenditure phase is the expenditure of income, on the purchase of final consumer and capital goods. It is the expenditure of income on the purchase of final consumer and capital goods. This is also known as disposition phase. This is also known as the disposition phase. So like we just discussed, there are three phases: production, income, and expenditure phases. Now, the next heading is the types of circular flow of income. The types of circular flow of income. The circular flow is of two types. The circular flow is of two types. First, real flow, and second, money flow. Real flow and money flow. First point, the real flow. It is the flow of goods and services. Real flow implies the flow of factor services. Real flow implies the flow of factor services. Now, what is this factor services? You may note down in the bracket. What are the factor services? Land, labor, capital, and enterprise. These are the four factor services: land, labor, capital, and enterprise. So real flow implies the flow of factor services, which are land, labor, capital, and enterprise, from the households to the firms and goods and services from the firms to the households. So children, I am sharing a screen with you where I have put a diagram of the same thing which I have just said. The real flow implies the flow of factor services, which are land, labor, capital, and enterprise, from the households to the firms, and goods and services from the firms to the households. So you see, children, there are two sectors: household sectors and the firm sectors. Okay, the household sectors, they provide factor services to the firm sectors. Can you see here? From the households, they provide factor services, which is land, labor, capital, and enterprise to the firm sector. And in return, what does the firm sector gives back to the household? They give back goods and services to the household sectors. Now we come to the next, which is money flow. The second flow of income, money flow. Write down a definition. It refers to the flow of money. It refers to the flow of money in the form of factor payments and consumption expenditure among the different sectors of an economy. Among the different sectors of an economy. It is also known as nominal flow of or income flow. It is also known as the nominal flow or income flow. Now the diagram would be household sector is there and the firm sector is there. The household sector spends or consumption expenditure on the goods and services, and the firm sectors, they pay back in the form of factor payments. They remember households here, they give factor services in the form of land, labor, capital, and enterprise. They get factor payments. Land will get rent, labor will get wages, capital will get interest, and entrepreneurs will get the profits. So this is the diagram. They get factor payments. The firm provides factor payments. When they get the income, the household sectors, they spend the money on consumption expenditure on their goods and services. Okay, so this was the diagram for the money flow of income. Yeah. So that was the two types of circular flows of income. Now we come to the next topic, next heading, the model of the circular flow of income. The model of the circular flow of income in a two-sector economy. Now, in a simple economy, there are only two sectors, namely the household sector and the firm sector. The household sectors, they own all the factors of production and they consume goods and services produced by the firms. The firms produce the goods and services which are sold to the households. So we assume in a two-sector economy, there are only two sectors. Which are those two sectors? The household sector and the firm sector. And the household sector, they own all the factors of production, and they consume, that is the household sectors, they consume all the goods and services which are produced by the firms. And it is the firms who produce the goods and services which are sold to the households. Now, there are certain assumptions you must write down, assumptions to this two-sector economy. Assumptions. The first assumption being there are only two sectors. Excuse me. There are only two sectors in the economy. Second, there is no saving in the economy. There is no saving in the economy. Third assumption, there is no government sector. There is no government sector in the economy. There is no government sector in the economy. And the fourth point, there is no foreign trade. There is no foreign trade in the economy. So that makes it a closed economy. Closed economy. I will share a screen again of a diagram of a two-sector economy. Okay. Now this is the diagram which you will take down, children. It is the circular flow of income in a two-sector economy as shown in the diagram. We have the two sectors, the household sector and the firm sector. Okay. Now I'll explain this diagram. The household sector, they provide factor services in the form of land, labor, capital, and enterprise to the firm sector. And what are they getting back in return? What is the firm sector doing? The firm sector is making factor payments to the household. How? Land, they receive rent, labor, get wages, capital, they get interest, and enterprise, they get profits. So you see, household sectors, they give their services in the form of land, labor, capital, and enterprise. And the firm sector, in return, they give factor payments in the form of rent, wages, interest, and profits. Now, once they receive payments, households, then they have the money with them. So what do they do with them? They spend it on consumption expenditure on goods and services. So you see, the household sector, they spend on consumption expenditure on goods and services. So once money goes back in the circular form here, when they are spending for consumption, the firms are providing goods and services. So you see, this is a circular flow of income, children. Kindly draw this in your notebook. This is the circular flow of income in a two-sector economy, and it is shown in the form of a diagram, which I am sharing the screen with you. You will have two sectors, household sectors and the firm sector. The household sector, I'm repeating again, they are providing factor services. What are those factor services? Land, labor, capital, enterprise. They provide these factor services to the firm sector. Okay. This is the first part here, first part of the circle. And the firm sector, in return for these factor services, they provide factor payments to the household sector in the form of, easy to remember, land is given rent, labor is given wages, the capital which is provided is paid its interest, and the enterprise, they get profits. So this completes the first inner circle, where factor services are provided by the household sector. They are provided to the firm sectors in these four forms, in the form of land, labor, capital, and enterprise. And the firm sector, they return payments to the services in the form of rent, wages, interest, and profits. Now, when factor payments are received by the household sectors, when the payments are received by the household sectors, they spend their amount or this amount on consumption expenditure. They spend it on consumption expenditure. That is, they spend it on goods and services. So they will spend on consumption expenditure on goods and services. When the firm sector receives the consumption expenditure, what do they do to the household sector? What do they provide? They provide them all the necessary goods and services. So goods and services are provided to the household sector. Make sure you put the arrow symbols correctly, indicating the flow of income. The inner circle, the flow of income is here. Here it goes in a circular form. They get the money, they are spending on expenditure on goods and services. And when they spend on goods and services, the firm sector are returning goods and service. This is a two-sector model without any saving and without any investment. That is why it is called a two-sector flow of income. Now, What are the conclusions we draw from these? The conclusions. First conclusion we draw is total production is equal to total consumption. Second, factor payment is equal to factor income. And consumption expenditure, excuse me, is equal to factor income. And fourth, real flow is equal to money flow. So you see, children, the model of the circular flow of income, which was a two-sector economy, and there we assumed that there was only two sectors, that is the household and the firm sectors. There was no saving in this economy. What was produced was being consumed. That's why the conclusion that we made was that total production was equal to total consumption. Whatever was being produced is being consumed. Then there is no saving in the economy, and factor payments is equal to factor income. There is no government sector in the economy, and there is no foreign trade in the economy. In other words, it is a closed economy. So this is how we learn about the circular flow of income in a two-sector economy, as shown. I have shown it to you in the diagram. Okay, so this brings us to the end of today's topic, which was the types of circular flow of income we had done. There were two types of incomes, circular flow of incomes. They were the real flow, which was the flow of goods and services. And in this we studied how the flow of factor services, which were land, labor, capital, and enterprise, they were flowing from the households to the firms, and goods and services were flowing from the firms to the households. That is called the real flow of income, which is the real flow of goods and services. Then we had the money flow of income, which is the flow of money in the form of factor payments and consumption expenditure. They were the form of factor payments and consumption expenditure, which was spent along the different sectors of the economy. And this was also known as the nominal flow or the income flow. So the money flow is the flow of money. I had given you the two diagrams showing you the difference between the real flow and the money flow. Then we talked about the model of a circular flow of income in a two-sector economy. And in the two-sector economy, we had learned that how the factor services flow from the households to the firm sectors, and the firm sectors return payments for services in the form of rent, wages, interest, and profit. The household sectors, they receive the payments and they spend on goods and services, and in return, the firm sectors provide goods and services. So we will stop till here and we will continue tomorrow with the next new topic. Till then, all of you do have a nice day and stay safe.